First responders, what accident do you see most often that is 100% preventable? Wear your seatbelt in the car and a helmet on your motorcycle 100% of the time. No excuses. Edit. To everyone who's saying that they know someone whose life was saved by not wearing a seatbelt, honestly, I question the honesty. I never, in my limited experience, saw someone whose outcome would have been any better had they not been wearing the belt. I asked around and I don't even know anyone who has seen it. We've heard stories, but I doubt their truth. Never seen a seatbelt actually get stuck either. If it bothers you that much, carry a knife with a serrated blade, you'll be fine. If you ever see what they have to do to people who scrape across the asphalt, then you'll understand why you should always wear the belt. Edit number 2. So to all the individuals saying that seatbelts cause more harm than good, I did some research. Now I can only do this with my agency's records, but you can search the contributing factor to death, serious bodily injury, or bodily injury, and the mechanism of that injury. One particular mechanism is the seatbelt. In the 50,000 plus accident report in the known system, there has never been any sort of injury or death where a seatbelt was even a contributing factor. I also want to share a quote that I saw in one of the responses. I've never unbuckled a dead body. Next story. Not a first responder, but I worked in the mattress industry for years, and I can agree and add some things. Mattresses contain a lot of polyurethane foam, which is highly flammable. To give you an idea of how much, when Katrina severely affected petroleum production in the Gulf, U.S. foam manufacturers had to ration supplies to the mattress manufacturers for months. Unless you have a tank of jet fuel in your living quarters, your mattress is easily the most flammable item in your home. In 2007 to 2008, new laws were enacted, eventually federally, mandating that a mattress be able to withstand 30 minutes of open flame before igniting. So here's where you might wish you hadn't torn off that "Do Not Remove" label, as it tells you the year of manufacture and if yours was made to the highest current flammability standards. When this was first rolled out, it raised the wholesale prices, and the retailers fought it, as did the consumers. The most common consumer response was, "Well, I don't smoke in bed, so that doesn't apply to me." You might think it also doesn't apply if you don't pile your mattress up against an outlet. Not so fast. Think about that mattress set sitting in the guest bedroom with nobody using it at night. Most likely the oldest one in the house, too. Because when you got yourself a new one for the master bed, you had the delivery guys move your old one to the spare room. Now, imagine a slow fire smoldering in the guest room. Wiring, whatever. That mattress will light up in no time, sending noxious fumes throughout your sleeping household. If you're lucky, the smoke alarm, which is probably not in the spare room, will awaken you before the fumes render you unconscious. But it doesn't take much time. This is not theoretical. This happens. Source: I worked for a major bedding manufacturer during the time frame of the implementation of the new federal flammability requirements. I knew the facts inside and out. Well, new fear unlocked. I didn't know mattresses were flammable. Did I ever read the tag? No. But who did, really? If more than like 5% of you in the comments say you did, I don't believe you. You're lying to me. Next story. Always freaking look at the knife when you're chopping stuff. Similarly, your mandolin slicer comes with a goddamn handguard for a reason, you numbskull. And while we're at it, do not jerry-rig your food processor to work without the top on. Do not stick your hand in a whirring blender. Do not stick your fingers down the drain with the disposal running, you ninnies. Your flesh is soft and squishy, and blades are sharp. Next story. Drunk driving-related vehicle collisions are the most common preventable accidents, but swimming accidents are some of the most devastating. Never, never, never leave your child near the water unattended. Don't do it. Don't assume your spouse is watching. Don't tell your older child to watch them. I do not care how good of a swimmer your little one is. Do not take your eyes off of them. Next story. EMT with over 20 years of experience. Also firefighter and fire instructor in the past. Ladders, bathtubs, stairs. Lots of falls. You don't worry about this kind of thing when you're 20, but you're likely to fracture a hip as you age. Power tools. Wear your eye protection. Weekend chainsaw operators, myself included. I've nearly cut myself badly, by which I mean within millimeters with a chainsaw twice now. Smoke alarms. Had an infant die in a fire many years ago because the state didn't mandate smoke alarms in rentals. It was the family's first night in the home. Know how to respect animals and teach it to your kids. They should understand basic dog language so they don't get bit trying to pet someone's dog. If you live in gun country, you and your kids should understand basic weapons safety and respect. Heck, not just gun country, but I find people are more casual about weapons around the house in rural areas. People keeping a loaded rifle and shooting deer out their back window, and no, I'm not exaggerating. And don't ride motorcycles if you have dependents. Next story. Wilderness first responder here, so have a slightly different perspective on this. Drink water. Hydrate yourself. Drink before you're thirsty. Sip regularly, not chug randomly. And for the love of the flying spaghetti monster, don't rely on that warm camelback water to help you. Cold and common helps you stay clear and copious. Heat exhaustion and heat stroke can both be prevented by adequately hydrating and keeping your miracle of a temperature-regulating organs functioning. Don't drag your family somewhere and expect everything to be right where it was a decade ago. And don't expect to be some survival expert just because you watched or read something. Know where you can refill on potable water. And if you don't find out ahead of time, talk to a damn park ranger or someone who looks like they know what's going on. I see this way too much down here in Texas and throughout the North American Southwest. Oh, and please come enjoy the outdoors. I love working with folks to help you all do something in nature. Don't mind me, just gonna take a sip of my water. Am I out in the wilderness right now? No. But am I all of a sudden feeling really dry in the mouth? Yeah. Next story. I'm involved with motor vehicle accident investigations. Always check for the left turning car. Always check for pedestrians and oncoming traffic before you turn left. Edit. If you drive on the left in your country, then watch out for the right turners and be safe and observant when making right turns. Next story. I'm not a first responder, but everyone should know the signs of a stroke. My dad had a stroke and I didn't notice the signs, so he didn't get to the ER for another 3 hours. Now he has permanent damage to his communication skills. It makes me sad to know I could have possibly reduced the severity if I had gotten him to the ER right away. My dad was only 45 when it happened, and his stroke made his life so much more difficult. I would do anything to reverse it. Numbness or weakness in your face, arm, or leg, especially on one side, confusion or trouble understanding other people, trouble speaking, trouble seeing with one or both eyes, trouble walking or staying balanced or coordinated, dizziness, severe headache that comes on for no known reason. I should also add that we had the attitude of not needing to go to the ER unless it was severe. I knew something was wrong, I just couldn't say what. We thought he was just overworked and dehydrated. If you notice something is wrong with someone, don't hesitate to call for help. Next story. From my experience in EMS and fire, if I could give one piece of advice to people, it's to wear your seatbelt. Just do it. You don't want to be ejected from a vehicle. Cliché, I know, but it blows my mind that they've been standard on all cars for over 4 decades, and some people still refuse to wear one for whatever stupid reason. Of course, I had to learn to wear my seatbelt the hard way as well, so I have no room to talk, I suppose. But yeah, do yourself a favor and put your seatbelt on. Lap belt over your hips and shoulder belt over your shoulder, not neck. And while this isn't all that common, it is heartbreaking and 100% preventable. Do not sleep with your infant child. I've seen 2 babies asphyxiated because a family member was on top of them. It was devastating. I can't imagine the sorrow and guilt those families feel. Next story. I'm a hazmat emergency responder, so things I usually deal with aren't too common in a residential setting. But that being said, try not to have any mercury in the house. And if you do and it spills, don't vacuum it. Your best bet is to call local fire and health department. If anything comes into contact with it, throw it out immediately. Typically shoes, brooms, mops, etc. Honestly, mercury is nowhere near one of the most dangerous substances we deal with, but it is a pain to get out of a house once it's been there for a while, and can be extremely expensive. It is also often not covered in many home insurance policies. If you can avoid having it in your house, do, and hopefully you'll never run into any of us hazmat guys. Next story. Not a first responder, but I have a great example. My uncle was in a car crash when he was in his teens, about 40 years ago. A person behind him tried to help him when he was found in the car passed out. He dragged him back to the side of the road to wait for paramedics. In the process, he dislocated his broken neck, paralyzing him. You never move a victim from a car if there's a possibility of neck injury. Next story. Alcohol poisoning. I see so many way too drunk biddies at frat parties. Many times they get transported to the hospital. If you're younger and have no real experience with alcohol before, sure. I'm sorry you had the situation and now you know. But when I see older college girls just completely out of control throwing up and all over the place, it's like, you know your tolerance. and now you're making all these other people take care of you. Next story. Get your kids vaccinated. Most preventable death out there. On another note, learn CPR. Lots and lots of places teach it. It doesn't look anything like it does on TV, and the way we do CPR has changed. It's not just for if your kid is having a heart attack, it's also for if your baby is choking. Baby CPR is a little trickier because you have to flip them over a few times and support their neck, so please learn to do it. Babies and toddlers will put anything and everything in their mouths. You can look away for 2 seconds and they'll find that screw you lost and down the hatch. Of course, if they do swallow it and it doesn't go into their lungs, you got lucky. Sifting through poop every day is much better than dealing with a dead baby. I hear the AHA and Red Cross offer free CPR classes at the YMCA. Please do it. Next story. I'm not currently a first responder, but I was for years, and when I finish my undergrad, I'll be back in it full time. Maintain your physical health. So many people drop dead at 40 from poor physical health. Unless you enjoy the smell of burnt toast and sudden cardiac arrest, get healthy and stay healthy. Learn CPR. It's surprisingly easy and the training works in the real world. I learned CPR and I've done it a handful of times as a first responder. You can increase the chances of your loved ones surviving a cardiac arrest by learning CPR. Use the mother freaking crosswalks. I've seen people twisted up, looking like they didn't have a bone in their body because they decided to run across the road and got hit by someone going 50. The driver gets all sorts of mental issues after that because you didn't want to walk 200 feet to the closest intersection. Not even the driver's fault. Use a crosswalk. If your house is on fire, get the hell out. Yes, you may be able to save a few things, and maybe you can put a fire out with your garden hose if you catch it in the growth stage. Do you know what you can't do, though? Breathe in hydrogen cyanide and all those other superheated gases without becoming a dead person. You'd be surprised how many people think they can put the fire out and end up dying right at the door. The crap ain't campfire smoke. Your couch is made of dead dinosaurs, son. Breathe in a few breaths of heated deadly smoke, and you've already done irreparable mortal damage to yourself. Singed your lungs, making the amount of oxygen you get much less, and also the deadly smoke wants to bond your oxygen cells a hell of a lot more than oxygen does, and even breathing it a little bit can inhibit your ability to absorb oxygen. If you're in a fire, get the hell out and avoid fire and smoke if at all possible. The stay low thing is true. A few feet in altitude can be several 100 degrees Fahrenheit difference. Stay low and get the hell out. If your house is on fire, be a good witness and call 911. Is there anybody in the house? If so, which room? Firefighters can do a rapid search if someone is in a specific room. If you're dead at the front door, they're going to focus on you and the fire, and it may take longer to find the other victim. And lastly, listen to the police. You can get shot by not listening to the police. Law enforcement, not the 80s band. Hands out of your pockets? Do it. Being detained in cuffs? Just let it happen. Under arrest? Don't resist. In the streets, an officer will always win. You are in the early stages of the justice system, and if you have a problem, you can take it to court or complain about the individual officer. I know you all see videos on YouTube and live leak of bad cops. There are bad cops. Most of them aren't bad, so give them the benefit of the doubt, why don't you? I understand the last point about cops, and yes, I think it will always be safer to just do what they tell you to do. Like, there's no case where you fight against them in the street and win. OP's right about that. That being said, I understand freaking out a bit, especially if you're part of a marginalized community. Cops are people, and people hold prejudices. So you're absolutely allowed to be terrified of the situation. And I don't think OP was saying that you shouldn't be either. I just know that people have very strong opinions about cops. So I'd figure I'd address it at least a little bit beforehand. Next story. Don't wait to call 911. Waiting makes it that much worse for you and all of the first responders who show up to your home. For example, if you think you're having a heart attack, please don't waste any time. I would rather have a semi-comfortable chat with you on the way to the hospital than do 20 minutes of rigorous CPR. If you're ill and have no way of getting to a doctor, hospital, or have real diagnostic care come to you, for the love of God, call sooner than later. If 911 was ever a passing thought in the course of something you feel is medically wrong, pick up the phone. If you want, you can always refuse transport. However, again, there's a reason you called and you should probably go. Don't be in a situation where you end up regretting not going the first time. Next story, drownings. Swim near and talk to a lifeguard. Use flotation. Know your limitations and abilities. Understand what a rip current looks like and how it works. Talk to your lifeguard. They know area-specific hazards and can educate you on conditions you may not understand. Use a life jacket or bodyboard, something attached to your person you won't lose if you're rolled by a wave. Set realistic limitations for yourself and your children. The vast majority of people overestimate their swimming ability. I cannot stress this enough. There is a fundamental difference between being able to swim across the deep end and being able to take care of yourself in open water. This is reflected in the fact that the majority of water rescues and drownings are for males aged 14 to 40 who are able to swim. Rip currents occur when the water is directed offshore through a deep trench between sandbars or by structure in or under the water such as a jetty, reef, or pier. It takes a water depth of approximately 1.4 times the wave height for a wave to break. You can estimate the water depth this way. Unfortunately, people are intuitively drawn to the calmer water between the breaking waves, which is exactly where the rip current will form. Rip currents generally pull harder at low tide. There's less room for the water to move around. The sandbars create more of an obstruction. Think of it like putting a nozzle on a garden hose. Rip currents like organized surf as well. Organized surf produces organized currents. A 3 to 5 foot, clean breaking, long period wave looks inviting and manageable for most people with some swimming ability, but it is the worst condition in regard to rip currents. Next story. Parents suffocating their children because they sleep in the same bed. Avoid sleeping with your child, please. I'm not a father, but I'm going to avoid even napping with my infant. At least once a month I go to a house for an unresponsive infant. By the time we get there, it's too late. The parents don't understand what happened. All they did was lay next to the infant, as they always do. They woke up and the baby was blue and cold. As far as I know, we've never charged a parent for this. The AG's office decides that losing the child is punishment enough, and I agree with them. Oddly enough, I've learned that the autopsy doctors will put down SIDS as the cause of death, knowing full well it was the parents' negligence that caused it. From talking to them, they do it as a way to spare the parents some responsibility. Next story. This one is incredibly simple. Take your meds, eat when you take your insulin, finish the round of medication that the doctor has prescribed to you. Don't call 911 after you gave your child one dose of medicine because, quote, it just ain't working. We run a lot of calls on people who are sick or having diabetic emergencies that very likely would be prevented if they would do just what the doctor told them to do. Next story. I have a buddy who's an EMT, and he told me one of the most common calls he responds to is choking due to ginger beef. He also told me the fatality rate for these is incredibly high. In a nutshell, the meat tends to be very tough and thin, while also coated in a slippery surface crust. Regular anti-choking techniques won't work, and the only way to get it out is with forceps or something similar. TLDR, ginger beef is deadly. This is messed up. This is targeted. I had ginger beef literally last night and leftovers for lunch today. This is gonna freak the hell out of me. I'm not ordering or making ginger beef for a while. Screw you, OP. Next story. Volunteer firefighter that does that hazmat thing here. If you for some reason want to climb down into your septic tank / manure slurry tank / crap storage vessel, air it out first. Don't just open the lid. Point a leaf blower in there for a solid 10 minutes. Why? Because fermentation produces CO2, and that displaces air. Furthermore, if you see someone unconscious in such a place, do not go in after them. You'll just turn one funeral into 2. My personal record is 5 people who we believe to have entered the tank a la 1121 over the course of roughly an hour. All dead, all blue, and all covered in a pig crap / pea cocktail. Next story. Paramedic here. Never take narcotics alone recreationally. If you must do it, make sure you are with a friend you trust. If you're that friend and someone overdoses, roll them onto their left side, call 911, start CPR if they stop breathing, and answer all of my questions honestly when I get there. I'm not going to be telling the cops. This goes for anything not just drug-related. Please be 100% honest with medical professionals, whether that be first responders, doctors, whatever. They cannot help you to the best of their ability if you don't tell them everything they need to know. If they ask you a question and it seems irrelevant to you so you lie, you are potentially only harming yourself. Anyway, I was going to end on that last story, but too gross. So I decided to end on this one, which, you know what? I don't think there's going to be a good ending for this thread. It's going to be gross or sad or disturbing, whatever. So we're ending it here. I would like to thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day or night wherever you are, and I hope you learned something. But I will see you in the next one.